So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. We'll back here at BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, February 5th. Hope everyone's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day. Yes, their day. It is, in fact, Friday, February 5th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and a good rest of their day. Yes, their day. It is Super Bowl Friday today. Super Bowl game picks today. It's going to be really, really good. Today I will reveal to you who I think will be the champion of Super Bowl 55. Either is it the Chiefs or is it the Buccaneers? It's going to be a lot of fun. Keys to the game, injuries, MVP predictions, record. Gonna go really in depth with this one as it is the biggest game of them all. Super Bowl 55 between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am super excited. Hopefully you are as well. We got a loaded podcast. Yesterday, the Rangers got the win yesterday. Played really, really, really well. Won 4-2. We just played well from the start. Got shots on goal. We're able to get shots on goal. We're able to, really crush the Capitals in their zone. We really dominated time of possession. We're able to get a lot of shots on goal. And Shesterkin had a great game. I mean, he took 7 shots from Alex Ovechkin. One of them went in. But there was a couple. This first 6 of them didn't. And, there were a couple lasers he took, and he was able to stop them. So, a great game by Igor Shesterkin. Panarin had another 3-point game. He had 3 assists, or actually, he had another big 3-point game. Panarin did. He had another big 3-point game yesterday. As he had 3 assists yesterday. So yet another multi-point game. That is his third straight 3-point game or something, or second straight. He's been really, really, really dominant. Got 15 points on the season, and without a doubt one of the best players in all the NHL. So good win yesterday for the Rangers. Today the Nets play against the Raptors after their 2 days off. They started this front end of a back-to-back. They play tonight, and then they play again tomorrow. Tonight the game's actually nationally televised. Nets Raptors. It's going to be on ESPN. So not only it's going to be on Yes Network, but it's also going to be on ESPN. So your worldwide leader in sports will be covering that game. So ESPN, anyone can watch it anywhere, anytime. It's going to be a good game. Raptors, they're a lot better than what their record shows, so that's going to be an exciting game. I really believe the Raptors are a lot better than what their record shows. A lot of people might disagree with me, but when they catch fire, they can be a really good team. We've seen it happen. We've seen this team make the playoffs multiple years in a row, and then that's just got to go out there, play solid defense, and play their game. Make shots, most importantly. In that Clippers game, to start off the game, we were not making shots, and that's a problem, right? When you go up against some of these high-powered offenses, you got to make shots to keep up with them. Nets ended up deciding to do that in the second half, which was able to get the win, but definitely shaky start, and that's got to get out. Quick starts, good defense will win us a championship. So good game on tonight. These are the topics for the podcast. Not really surprising. Super Bowl game picks, keys to the game will be the first topic. As you all know, I've been talking about it really since the AFC and NFC championship games were over. I've been talking about this day, wanting to do my game pick. I've known all along what I wanted to do my game pick off of. I've known, looking at the spread, looking at the numbers, I've decided to make my game pick. You probably more than likely won't be surprised with my game pick, but I will still tell you it either way. I don't want to give it away yet, but I'm just going to say you probably won't be surprised with my game pick. So we got the Super Bowl game pick. Give you the keys of the game. Chiefs offensive keys of the game and defensive keys of the game. Buccaneers offensive keys of the game and defensive keys of the game. So that should be pretty good. And then we got the NFL awards predictions. I will go through every award. I will do MVP, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, offensive rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, comeback player of the year, and coach of the year. And then I'll give you a Walter Payton man of the year. We'll go through all of You're going to go through all the games, going to go through, or not all the games, all the players, and decide who I think is going to win each award. MVP, I decided who I think is going to win that award. It's not so much who I think, it's more who I think should. It's not so much like a prediction, it's more of this is what should happen, meaning like this is where I think should happen. So the MVP, I'm just going to tell you, is not the favorite to win MVP. It is my personal opinion who I think should win MVP. Obviously, personally, the person who I put on this list is not who I think will win it, but it's who I think should win it. So that's what we'll do. And then to finish off the podcast, got college basketball, NBA, NHL, and then fantasy, and your rest of your New York sports update. Quick update to the studio. I don't know if you could see, yesterday I got two new pop heads. So these are little pop head thingies. They're players. So I've got Henrik Lundqvist over here, added him yesterday. Got Gleyber Torres right here, Joe Namath right here, Kevin Durant right there, and Artemi Panarin right there. So I got two new ones yesterday. Update to the studio. Moved them back a little. I don't know. It's tough to see, but if you're wondering why there are five there instead of just three, it is because I added two yesterday. Henrik Lundqvist here, right here, and then Artemi Panarin over here, and obviously Katie, Joe Namath, and Gleyber Torres have all been here. So still adding on to my collection. One day the goal is, I guess, to have them all the way out in front of me as I continue to add on. But yesterday I decided to get the Panarin and the Lundqvist, so those will be there as well. Just quick update to the studio. The studio it's kind of set. I'm gonna be, this is kind of the studio, but I make little additions here and there. And then like I said, one day the goal is to probably have about most of this table filled up with just different players, different teams, and things like that. So with all that being said, this is the BSN podcast, and let's get right into it. So yeah, we are now sitting here Friday, February 5th, and it is a super, super, super exciting day for me and for many, because it is, in fact, game pick day for many people who do podcasts, broadcasts, radio, whatever. Everyone usually makes their picks today, unless if they are, unless if they're doing like a special Super Bowl Sunday pod. I thought about doing that, but I decided, I'm just going to do on Friday, stick with the plan and stuff like that, because usually Super Bowls are pretty packed day. You have a lot going on, and I don't know if I would be able to fit time for that podcast, so I just decided to do it today. But it is, in fact, about 2 days away, technically 2 days away. If you want to count today, it's 3 days away, but February 5th, 6th, 7th, so we are now 2 days away from Super Bowl 55. I'm super excited for this matchup. I've probably said the word excited talking about the Super Bowl about 50 times, so it might get annoying, but I'm going to say it a lot in this podcast. It's a great matchup. It's a great matchup. It's what I think is a fun matchup. I think two high-powering offenses. You got the 7th best offense in the league versus the best offense in the league. You got two underrated defenses, like I said yesterday, because the story of this game is offenses. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans. That's the story of the game. It's all the skill position players. No one's talking about the defense side of the ball, because your star players come on the offense side of the ball. A lot of people think this game is going to be a one-sided offense side game. I think it's going to be high scoring. That's one thing I could say about my pick. I think it's going to be high scoring and close. And the reason I think it's going to be high scoring is just because the offenses are so good. The defenses are good too, but nowhere near as good as the offenses. So I do think this is going to be a close game. The spread right now is 3, so I think it's going to be a close game. But I think it's going to be a really good game and close. I don't think it's going to be blowout. I kind of hope not. I hope it's not a blowout, because I would like to see a close game. I am rooting for one team. I am rooting for the Chiefs. And I obviously will tell you my game pick in a little bit, but I am rooting for the Chiefs. That doesn't mean I picked them, but I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I'm rooting for the Chiefs. Obviously not going to spoil my pick, but I'll pick them soon. I'll make my game pick soon. I am rooting for the Chiefs, but at the same time, I want to see a good game. I don't want to see this 35-3 blowout of one team, whether it's the Buccaneers or the Chiefs. I don't want to see it. Now, it would be cool to see Brady get blown out, but you don't want all this hype up to happen to where it's, to where it's a blowout. You don't want to see that. As much as I hate Brady, I would like to see a good game. Now, it would be cool to see Brady get smoked like 42-10. That would be nice. But I don't want to see that happen. I would rather see a close game come down to the fourth quarter, almost something like that happened last year between the Chiefs and the 49ers, have a comeback in the fourth quarter when everything seemed like it was over, make an 11-point comeback and score 21 unanswered and end up winning the game, right? I want to see something like that. Game-winning field goal, a final play where you're at the 10-yard line, your final play, this is it, 4th down and goal, 3 seconds left, you have the ball. How great would it be? 3 seconds left, 4th down and goal at the 10-yard line. Mahomes has the ball. He gets it. If they score a touchdown, they win. If they don't, it's over. Like, how great would that be? That would be such a great thing. Like, not just for the players and stuff if they convert that play, but for the fan base, for the NFL, that would be such a great thing. Like, even if you kind of zoned off during the game and stuff, you all of a sudden realize, or maybe you couldn't, or maybe you didn't watch the game and you're like, okay, all right, actually this game's close, let me turn on. Like, the ratings, the viewers would be super excited to see that. So that's my personal thing. Just a quick before I go into the keys of the game, because I have a lot of keys of the game and I have my MVP prediction and I'm going a lot in depth with this. So, heading into this week, I've said this about millions and millions and millions of times. Pretty much, I've said it every Monday, every Tuesday, because after coming out of Monday, the games, Thursday, Friday, all that stuff. So I said it a lot, but this is my overall. I am 189-90 going into the season, or overall this season. Overall in the playoffs, though, I am 8-4 in the playoffs. 4 wild card round wins, 3 divisional round wins, and then 1 last round. So that all adds up to 8, and then 2 wild card losses, divisional round 1 loss, and then 1 championship round loss. So that adds up to 4. So I'm 8-4 through the 12 playoff games so far. Obviously 4 wins, 3 wins, 1 win equals 8. So I'm 8-4 in the playoffs. 189-90 overall, and obviously I'm 0-0 in the Super Bowl. This Super Bowl is big for me because this game pick's big for me because I've obviously really want to get to that. I obviously really want to get to the over. I really want to get to the over 190 win mark. I would much rather go 189-90 or 190-90 than be exact 100 games above 500 than 189-91. But still, it was a very successful year. I finished a ton of games above 500. But obviously, the goal is to get to 1 more win. So here we go. Let's get into this here. Let's get into the game pick here. We'll get into the keys of the game. We'll get into obviously all that good stuff. So here we go. To start off here, the Chiefs come into this game. So over right now, the Chiefs come in this game. It's the Chiefs versus Buccaneers. Chiefs come in this game 3-point favorites. The Buccaneers come into this game obviously 3-point underdogs. The over/under is set at 56.5 for this game. This game is on at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on CBS. Yes, CBS has a Super Bowl this year at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. I'll even go through the weather for you. It's going to be 58 degrees, clear sky, winds 9 miles an hour. I'm going to go a lot in depth with this. So it's going to be nice there, 58 degrees in Tampa. It's going to be a clear sky, and the wind's going to be 9 miles an hour. So it shouldn't be any windy to affect the kicking or affect any throwing. It should be pretty good. Regular season, the Chiefs are 14-2. They are 7-9 record versus spread. Record outdoor is 11-2, and they're 8-0 away this season. They have yet to lose a away game this year. Their only 2 losses have came at home. Buccaneers, they are 11-5 regular season, 9-7 record versus the spread. Their record outdoor is 8-4 home. Their home record is 5-3, which means they are 6-2 on the road. Some of the league rankings here: the Chiefs are 6th in points per game, with 29.6 per game. Buccaneers are 3rd in points per game with 30.8. Points per game allowed, the Chiefs are 10th in the NFL with 22.6 points per game allowed, and the Buccaneers are 8th with 22.2 points per game allowed. Total yards per game, the Chiefs are 1st in the NFL with 415.8 total yards per game, and the Buccaneers are 7th in the NFL with 384.1 points per game. Pass yards per game, the Chiefs are 1st in the NFL with 303.8. Buccaneers are 2nd in in the NFL with 289.1, so right behind them there. Rush yards per game, the Chiefs are 16th in the NFL with 112.1, and the Buccaneers are 28th in the NFL with 94.9. And yards per game allowed, the Chiefs are 16th in the NFL, allowing 358.3 yards per game, and the Buccaneers are 6th in the NFL, only allowing 327.1 per game. Those are all the numbers there. Now, time to get into the keys of the game. I will start with the Chiefs, do offense, do defense, head to the Bucs, and then make my game pick, and then we'll get to the other stuff in the show. So here we go. Keys to the game. Let's start off for the Chiefs. So Chiefs offense, the keys of the game. Obviously, the Chiefs this season, we obviously know their offense has been so high-powered. It's been so dominant. It's been so, it's just been great. I mean, it's been amazing. This entire year for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's been amazing. And, you got a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes who, if he doesn't win the MVP, I would imagine he's going to be the runner-up for MVP. You've got a guy in Patrick Mahomes who I think should win the MVP. You've got a receiver in Travis Kelce, or tight end Travis Kelce, who this season was the best tight end in the NFL. You got a receiver in Tyreek Hill, who's probably the fastest receiver in the NFL and arguably one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL. I wouldn't say he's the best, but you could definitely make an argument he is the best. I still feel very strong that DeAndre Hopkins is up there. But Tyreek Hill, definitely probably a top 5 receiver in the NFL, especially after this year. The guy is amazing. The guy has had a fabulous year. He's just had a fabulous year. It really feels like this year has been even better. He's just had such a solid year on every aspect of the game, receiving-wise. Everything he does, it seems like, is just so good, and that's big. So my key to the game here for the Chiefs is we all know how good the Chiefs offense is. So it's not like here there's one thing you have to do in particular, because everything they do seems to be good. Whether it's running, even though they're 16th in rush yards per game, it still seems like they run the ball well. Here's my problem with running the ball this game is the Buccaneers have the best run defense in the NFL. They are only allowing about 80.6 rush yards per game, 80.6 to like 94.9 rush yards per game, which is insane. I mean, they are definitely up there in rush yards in rush yards per game stopped. The Buccaneers only allow this season about 80.6 rush yards per game, which is really, really pivotal for the Bucs. And this definitely makes the Chiefs have to change a little bit of their game plan here. So here's what I'm going to do with the Kansas City Chiefs. I say they're key to the game because the last time the Chiefs played the Buccaneers was a couple weeks, I shouldn't even say a couple weeks ago. It was a month and a half, 2 months ago. It was early in the year. It was mid-year. They went into Tampa, played against the Buccaneers. The Chiefs obviously ended up winning that game. What I'm going to tell you the Chiefs are going to need to do in order to beat the Buccaneers was, one, a key to the game, get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands, okay? The last time the Chiefs played the Buccaneers could not guard Tyreek Hill whatsoever. Now, you could say, they've improved. You could say, they've made a different game plan for him. It's not even just the game plan or even just that aspect. It's just the fact that their corners and their safeties just weren't good enough to guard Tyreek Hill. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy gotta dial up ways, get the ball to Tyreek Hill. Last time they played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tyreek Hill dominated. Got a huge game for me in fantasy and for many in fantasy. He had like 40 points. He had like over 200 yards, like 3 to 4 touchdowns. He had a ton. He had everything. Everything he could have done in that game, he did. And it wasn't so much because of busted coverage. It was just he was faster, quicker, lateral movement was better, and ultimately he was just hot that day. So it's the same exact thing. The corners for the Buccaneers are good, not good enough to guard Tyreek Hill. Get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands. You also got to get the ball in Kelce's hands. Red zone keys of the game, get the ball in Kelce's hand. The guy is one of the best red zone tight ends in the entire NFL. He is the best red zone tight end in the NFL, and I think he's the best overall. He's almost the best at everything in the NFL at tight end. And even this year, his blocking has improved a ton. And that is from me watching the games, looking at the numbers. His blocking has improved a ton. But get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands. We saw what happened last game. Do it again. Don't change the game plan. We see what happens when you change the game plan. Keep it. Go to Tyreek Hill. If you want to win, give it to the Cheetah. Give it to Tyreek Hill. That's the key to the game for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the defensive key to the game for the Kansas City Chiefs is getting to Tom Brady. I've said this so many times throughout this year, and I've said it so many times in past years when I'm talking about Tom Brady and defenses. Rush Brady, send blitzes, hit him, tackle him, sack him, do whatever you have to do to stop Tom Brady, right? Whether that is sending a 8-guy blitz, whether that is sending 7 guys, whether that is showing blitz, whether that's sending Tyrann Mathieu on a blitz, whether that's sending Breeland on a blitz, Sorensen on a blitz, whatever the case may be, whatever if that is lining Chris Jones up a nose tackle, whatever the case may be, get to Brady. We've all seen this with Tom Brady. He turns into Tom Baby, where when you hit him, when you start to hit him, when you sack him, things like that, he gets angry, gets off his game, and he starts making mistakes. You force him into mistakes. Get to Brady. Hit him. Even if that's the slightest push. Don't get a rough in the passer. Don't be too rough where he throws the ball, come in and sack him 5 seconds later. Because we know how the NFL is with that. And the NFL's got veteran refs in this game because it is the Super Bowl. And they're going to be calling everything. They're going to be calling a lot. I mean, they might let him play a little bit. But given it's a Super Bowl and they know how the fans are, they're going to try to call. If they see something that looks like a flag, they're going to call it. So don't be too rough. Don't get pass interference. Don't get rough in the passer. But hit Brady. Right? If you have an opportunity to hit him, even if that's the slightest push, or even if that's coming around the edge, throwing up your hands and deflecting a pass, do whatever it takes to stop Tom Brady. This might sound obvious, but it's not so much even intercepting him. It's getting to him, hitting him, even if you're talking a little smack to him. Because then he gets angry, he gets off his games, and that is when he starts to throw his interceptions, forces into mistakes, and that's when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense starts to crumble. We saw this in New England, and we've seen it again this year in Tampa. It's nothing new. Everyone says Brady's different now. No, he's the same old Tom Brady. He whines when he gets hit. He hates getting hit. We've all seen it happen before. Kansas City Chiefs, Chris Jones, D. Sorensen, Tyrann Mathieu, Bashaud Breeland. Hit Brady, get to him. Force him into mistakes. That's the key to the game for the Kansas City Chiefs on defense. So the keys of the game for the Kansas City Chiefs on offense, get the ball to Tyreek Hill. We saw it last time. We've seen the same thing last time against Tyreek Hill. You get the ball to Tyreek Hill. We saw it last time. We've got to see it again. Get the ball in Tyreek Hill. And red zone, Kelsey all day long. Because we've seen what this guy can do in the red zone. We'll do it again. Same thing you did against the Buccaneers in the middle of the year. Do it again in the Super Bowl. That's an overall team key to the game. Because whatever you did that day was one of the best offensive performances I have seen in my entire life. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Offense key to the game, get the ball to Tyreek Hill. He dominated his secondaries last time. There's no reason why he shouldn't dominate him again. Defense key to the game, get to Brady, hit him. Force him into mistakes. Get him off his game. You start hitting him. You talk a little trash to him. Right? I'm not talking dirty, whack him, throw him to the ground. I'm not talking that stuff. I'm talking even the slightest push. Even if you just reach your hand in there and tap him. He hates to be touched. He hates to feel like when he gets the ball, he likes to have a nice clean pocket. He hates when the pocket starts to come in on him and all of a sudden he feels rushed to throw. He hates that. Get to Tom Brady. Hit him. I don't mean injure him. This is why I thought this key to the game would be a little tough, because some people might take my words and twist them a little bit. I don't mean injure him. I mean even if it's just reaching your hand down, the slightest tap on the shoulder. He does not like that. Then it forces him into mistakes. That's the key to the game for the Kansas City Chiefs on defense. So those are the two keys of the game. Now we head over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the home team at their home stadium. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 3-point underdogs going into this game. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, offensive keys of the game. Okay? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just like the Chiefs, are you got to find a way, right? They're just like the Chiefs. Their offenses got them here. Their defense has been very, very good, but their offense is even better. One quick thing I want to say more about the Chiefs too is the run game too. You can rely on a little bit, but get the ball in the air. Your run games, their run defense, which is where I want to get to their defense key of the game. Their run defense is really good. Back to the Buccaneers, though. The Buccaneers, just like the Chiefs, have a very good offense. Now, their defense is very good, too. Their defense is actually 6th in the NFL on the defense side of the ball, I'm pretty sure, and their offense is a 7th. So, if you had to pull up the rankings, the defense is a higher rank than the offense, but that's also part of the reason because you have teams like the Chiefs, Buccaneers, or Chiefs like teams like the Chiefs, Bills, Packers, Titans, whose offenses are some of the best we've ever seen. So, the Buccaneers, same thing, right? With Tom Brady, his receivers, Gronk, Mike Evans, guys like that, right? You gotta make sure you get those guys the ball, right? And we've seen that all year long. We've seen it in the playoffs. We've seen Brady get it to guys in the playoffs. We've seen Brady, something about Brady in the playoffs to Gronk is just a different connection than what it is in the regular season. And that's really big. I think that's really one of the big things for the Bucs. But we've seen the Bucs all season long. I mean, they've been able to use some different guys. They've obviously used Miller. They've used Evans obviously a lot, but they've really, even Gronk has had a couple of good plays this playoffs. We've seen it a lot with this Buccaneers team. I think it's really like spreading the ball around. We've seen a lot. Brady throwing to a tumultuous different receivers. Obviously Evans is his number one guy. We've seen him get the ball to Godwin. We've seen him get the ball to Evans. We've seen him get the ball to Gronk, sorry. He's not going to throw it to himself. We've seen that Cameron Brate caught a touchdown. To be honest, with the Buccaneers, we've seen him throw to many different receivers. And I actually can go into the numbers here and look. He threw the ball to so many different receivers. He threw it to Cameron Brate 5 times, Miller 3 times, Evans 8 times, Godwin 9 times, Gronk once, Fournette 7 times, right? We've seen him throw it to receivers at least 2 to 3 times every game to a different receiver. So, to be honest here, as weird as it may sound, you want to get to the ball. You want to get the ball in your playmakers' hands, and that is Mike Evans and other guys like Mike Evans, Ronald Jones, and Leonard Fournette if they're running out for a route. But Mike Evans too, you want to get the ball in his hand. But you can't always rely that Mike Evans is going to be wide open every time. So I would so much say for the Buccaneers, their key to the game here is do what you've been doing the entire playoffs, and that is spread the ball around, spread the wealth. And I've been a big person in that where I'm all for number one receiver, your main target, the guy you're going to throw to 60-70% of the game. I'm all for that. But I do like to see, like a Buccaneers team, and I will give credit where credit's due. I think they're one of the better teams in the NFL at spreading the ball around, meaning they throw to 6-7 different receivers 2 to 3 times a game. But that's also part of the reason because they have Evans and Godwin, but they've got a ton of good talent. They don't have great, but they have a ton of good. Evans is amazing, but it's not like the Chiefs where you have Hill and Kelsey and they're insane and you don't really need anyone else, right? It's kind of how it is. Same thing with the Cardinals, right? You have Hopkins. You don't really need anyone else when you have DeAndre Hopkins. So we've seen it with plenty different teams. I like teams who spread the ball around. So for the Buccaneers, as much as I want to say spreading the ball around does mean to give it to Evans. Now, give to Evans the ball a little bit more. You're going to have to target him a lot. You should target your best receiver. But what I really do think here is, get the ball, to Evans. He had only 3 catches, 5 catches, 2 catches, 1 catch, 5 catch, 3 catch. So spread the ball around, right? We've seen what Evans can do. Spread it around. And that's really my one big thing here because, that's the one big thing here that really could find holes in your defense. If one moment Evans is hot and you're able to find Scotty Miller, who's also high. You know how hard that is on a defense? We got Evans covered. Oh, no, Scotty Miller's wide open. We got Scotty Miller and Evans covered. Oh, no, Gronk or Godwin's open, right? You know how hard that can be? Utilize, not so much spread the ball around, but utilize the weapons you have, I would so much say for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That even means Leonard Fournette, if he's running out for a route. Both these teams rely on the pass game. That's an overall key. A run game, I don't think is going to dominate in this game. I think it's going to be a pass game. So spread the ball around. Get the ball get them all. Get them all, right? This team's loaded. You got Miller, who showed flashes in the playoffs. He's really came along in the playoffs. we've seen with his speed and his speed in his hands, he can be very good, very underrated. What have you seen in the playoffs? Mike Evans, his hands, one of the best one-on-one jump ball receivers in the NFL. So spread the ball around. Get the ball to your guys. Get the ball to all your weapons, right? Buccaneers went out and got these guys for a reason. Use them. That's what I would say for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to have no time stopping. You're going to have no problem stopping the run game. And I don't mean that against the Chiefs anyway, because I'm very high on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I really think he is a great running back, or a good, not great, but a very good running back. And he's a very good running back, and he's just been, he's just been amazing. I really believe when he's healthy. He's been injured a couple times this season, but when he stays healthy, he is a big time. He's a big time player, and that's really one of the big things there. He's a big time player. We've seen what he can do at Helaire under pressure. Things like that. We've seen him. But I don't believe against the best run defense in the NFL, only allowing 80 yards per game to running backs. They're only allowing 80 rushing yards per game to running backs. That's pretty pivotal here for this Buccaneers team. So I think the Chiefs, they're not going to rely on the run game that much. So to be honest, for the Buccaneers, you got a lot of stuff to stop. You're going to have to find a way to stop Mahomes. You're going to have to find a way to stop Kelsey, Hill, even Helaire. You can't just forget about the run game, because if they find that the run game's working, they're going to use what's working. Especially, let's just say Mahomes, for some outrageous reason, I don't foresee this happening, but let's just say Mahomes gets off to a slow start and their run game's rolling, and all of a sudden you can't stop their run game. It's a problem. But still stop the run game. I don't think the run game's going to destroy the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I've said this. Both these teams have solid running backs. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, guys like that, right? Both these teams have that. Just the passing game is so much better. The receivers, the quarterbacks, so they're going to rely on that. So that's the same thing with the Chiefs. Don't worry about the run game. You'll have no problem stopping that. We've seen what you can do with it. JPP, guys like that up front, we've seen it. What I will do is this, for the Buccaneers, is I would continue to do what you've been doing all year. You got to find a way to stop Tyreek Hill. That's the main thing. I mean, you got to find a way. Last game, he went off on you guys. You got to find a way. And I even said earlier on the podcast, I don't even know if it's so much what they were running. I just think it was Tyreek Hill was faster and more just better than the corner, just better. I mean, it wasn't like it was a one-on-one where they were both even and Tyreek Hill had a day. I just think Tyreek Hill is better. So you're going to have to find a way to stop Tyreek Hill. But another thing, too, is what I'm really big fan of this Buccaneers defense is they throw, and Todd Bowles is they utilize the linebackers a lot. They throw a lot of different coverages at you. And Mahomes is a very smart quarterback. We've seen what he's done, so I don't know if Mahomes is going to so much be thrown off by this. But even if it's like one moment you're blitzing, the next you're not, that is pivotal. Quarterbacks once see a blitz. Okay, let me audible. Then all of a sudden, that's not a blitz. That's a show blitz. That forces players into mistakes. And I don't care if it's the best of all time or the rising stars. These quarterbacks, when they see a lot of moving parts on defense, it does become tough for them. I mean, it's tough for them to begin with to find out who they're throwing to in 2 seconds. That's the average time a player has before they're going to get sacked. And, the average NFL play only lasts like 5 seconds, I think. It's insane. It's very quick. Or 3 to 5 seconds, the average NFL play lasts. So, when you throw a bunch of those different coverage at you, it really does make a big difference. So I would say not only stop Tyreek Hill, because that's the main thing. If you really want to go in depth here, Todd Bowles continue to use those different coverages, those different packages, use the linebackers when Kelsey's running across the middle, use Shaquille Barrett, use Devin White, guys like that. That's your only hope against Patrick Mahomes. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that because Patrick Mahomes is insane. It's very hard to stop him. And that's one of your only ways to do it. Throw a bunch of different coverage at him. Show blitz, don't show blitz, then blitz. Do whatever you need to do to stop Mahomes. That's the key to the game for the Buccaneers. Run a bunch of different stuff. So it's offense keys to the game. Obviously, you have a game plan, but your game plan going into the game should be that. So the offense keys to the game for the Buccaneers will be the normal. Will be spread the wealth, give the ball to all your weapons. The Buccaneers got all these weapons for a reason. Give the ball to them. And then your defense key to the game for the Buccaneers will be not only stop Hill, but also really mix up those packages, those coverages, what we've seen all year out of this team. Really do that, because you've picked off Breeze 3 to 4 times. We've seen it happen. We've seen him pick off many different quarterbacks because they run so much different stuff. So just one more overview, and then I will finally get into my game pick. Chiefs, will get to offense, is get the ball to Tyreek Hill. I mean, he was key last game. Get it to him again. Defense is get to Brady. Like I said, even if it means the slightest tap on the shoulder or a little trash talk here and there, do whatever you can to get him off his game. Offense key to the game for the Buccaneers is spread the wealth. They got all these weapons to Brady for a reason. Spread the wealth, give them to every weapon. And in defense, key to the game is not only stop Tyreek Hill, but you've got to make sure spread these packages, blitz, show blitz, not blitz, show blitz, blitz. Whatever the case may be, do it all to try and stop Patrick Mahomes, because we've seen how good this guy is. So, with all that being said, my Super Bowl game pick has now arrived. I've said this for a long time now, and I'm going to continue to stick with this team. I am not only rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs, but I am going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs for this Super Bowl. And I'll tell you what, I've been holding that in for a long time. I could have said that after the AFC and NFC Championship game. I think this isn't a surprise. It would have been a surprise if I took the Buccaneers, but I took the Chiefs. This isn't a surprise to many of you. I'll get to the score in a second. This isn't a surprise, but the reason I think the Chiefs are going to win this game is just something about this team. This is a super team. This is a really just an insane team in the making. That's really what this team is. There's just something else about this team. I couldn't go against them. And actually, as funny as it sounds, I do go off of the numbers. But in the Super Bowl, I usually pick who I'm going to root for. I don't only pick, who's the favorite or something. I usually pick who I'm going to root for. So that's the Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl. I picked the Eagles to win that. And I actually think I have a podcast on here to talk about that. It was one of my older podcasts. But I picked the Eagles to win that. And I picked the Eagles just because I was rooting for them. That's what I do in the Super Bowl. I can't root against the team who I didn't pick. Same thing with the Rams. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. I was rooting for them. Chiefs last season, I picked the Chiefs to win. I was rooting for them. Same thing this year. Picked the Chiefs to win, rooting for them. They're going to go back-to-back. Just Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill. It's just a team in the making that's just unbelievable. And I don't really know if there's going to be a way the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really, find a way to stop Tyreek Hill, because we've seen what he can do. And like I said, I don't even think it's just so much that they just had a bad day in the secondary. I just think Hill's better than all those corners. Faster, quicker, just things like that. And if you try to play back off zone, and Hill gets the ball and runs for 15 yards. If you run close man, then he burns you. It's so hard to guard these players. Chiefs win. And my game pick, my actual score is Chiefs win. 35-31, Chiefs win. They cover the 3 points, and I take the over on the over-under of, I think, 56 here. So I take the over on the over-under of 56.5. I take the over, and I take the Chiefs win, and I think they cover the 3 points. 35-31, Chiefs win, and your 2021 Super Bowl champions will be the Kansas City Chiefs. That is my prediction. Chiefs win 35-31. I think they cover the 3 points, and I take the over on the over-under of 56.5. Chiefs win. Go Chiefs. That was good right there. That was really good. 14-2, 11-5. It's going to be a lot of fun. Chiefs win. That's my Super Bowl game pick. Coming up next, we got NFL awards predictions. Oh, one quick thing I actually wanted to share with you guys before I get into that. I just wanted to share this. So there's only been a couple teams who have actually been able to really get to the Super Bowl and win it twice. There's only been a couple teams. But these are the teams. So These are the teams. So the only teams to win back-to-back Super Bowls is Green Bay. They won it back-to-back in 1966 and 1967. The Dolphins, 1972 and 1973. The Steelers did it twice, once in 1974 and 1975, and then they did it again in 1978 and 1979. That was the Terry Bradshaw days. San Francisco 49ers won it in 1988 and 1989. The Dallas Cowboys won it in 1992 and 1993. The Denver Broncos won it in 1997 and 1998. And as crazy it may sound, in the 2010s, out of all the success in the past 5-6 years from the Patriots, they've only made one back-to-back Super Bowl. They've only won one back-to-back Super Bowl. They won it in 2003 and 2004 was when the Patriots won back-to-back Super Bowls. So only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams have done it. The Steelers have done it twice. To win back-to-back Super Bowls. So it doesn't happen often. It's such a hard thing to do. To make it to back-to-back is hard, but to win them back-to-back is even harder. And we've seen that, back-to-back is hard, and to win them back-to-back is even harder. But I do think the Chiefs will do it, and I think they have the team to do it. So Chiefs win. Coming up next, I'm going to go through my NFL awards predictions, tell you why I think each player will win each award. I have the MVP on here, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, and then Coach of the Year, and then Walter Payton Man of the Year. Coach of the Year and Walter Payton Man of the Year are going to be pretty quick because there's not many stats I have to go through, but the other ones are going to be a little long here. So, so that will be the next topic. That is on tomorrow night, will be the NFL honors. So, yes, the Chiefs I have winning the Super Bowl. That is my game pick. Coming up next, NFL awards predictions. Alrighty, so here we go. Okay, so here we go. So, obviously the NFL honors are on. They recap pretty much everything that happened in the NFL season. You start with, the MVP and the Rookie of the Year and the Defense Player of the Year, Offense Player of the Year, the Coach of the Year, Walter Payton Man of the Year. You even have, I think, Best Clutch Performance, Best Player of the Year, Best Team of the Year, which as a matter of fact, the best Team of the Year sometimes isn't even a team that's in the Super Bowl. It's just sometimes, the team who had the best record, or, in this case, a team that played so well together, or Best Team of the Year could very well, if the Chiefs lost for a round, they could have very well been the best team of the year, even though the record, even though they didn't in it, but they're obviously in it. So I like to hone in on a couple of the awards. I'm not going to go into the top clutch performance. I think that's on NFL honors. I don't know if that's on the ESPYs or NFL. I think it's on NFL honors, but they pretty much go through all the NFL awards: defensive, offensive Rookie of the Year, defensive, offensive Player of the Year. Obviously, everyone wants to know what the MVP is. You have the Coach of the Year, you have the Walter Payton Man of the Year, which Walter Payton Man of the Year is for outside work. That's not for on-the-field stuff. That's for off-the-field stuff. Although part of it does have to do with on-field. I mean, if you're performing well, a lot of people are going to hear your name. They're going to hear that you're in the running for Walter Payton Man of the Year, and you're more than likely going to win it. So, obviously, we're running we've got already 42, 43 minutes on this podcast, so I might have to make this a little quicker here, but I wanted to spend some time here looking at the numbers, talking about the players of each player, and why I think they should win each award. Now, this is not so much what I think, this is why they should. Personally, all these on this list, I think they will win it, except the MVP. The MVP, I have a person on this, I think someone else will win the MVP, but the person I have on this list, I think should win the MVP. And I will tell you why in just a little bit. So, I'm not going to really calculate which ones I got right or wrong. I mean, I'm going to know if I got them right or wrong, although I'm going to probably come on to the podcast on Monday. I don't know. I mean, Trevor Bauer, there's been some news around him with the Mets, so I don't know quite what I'm going to talk about. Obviously, Super Bowl, I'm going to recap that, obviously. But my second topic, I don't know if I'm going to talk about the NFL awards. That's still up in the air there. But, I will find out if I'm right or wrong, but I'm not going to keep too much track of it. I might a little bit, but, I wanted to get into the stats, get into the numbers, tell you why I think each player should do, why I think each player should win this award. So here we go, NFL awards predictions for the NFL honors tomorrow night. Let's go. We're going to start off with the most valuable player, the MVP of the NFL season. I'm going to start off here. This is not who I think will win it, but I think he should win it. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback, Kansas City Chiefs, okay? I personally think Aaron Rodgers will win this, but I think Patrick Mahomes should win it. And here's my reason why, okay? I've said this for the longest time now, and this is part of the reason why I made my game pick. I think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. That stuff really isn't going to change unless if he has a bad year next year, something like that. Like, I never jumped on the Lamar Jackson bandwagon. Last year, I said that Patrick Mahomes should win MVP. I said that Lamar Jackson will, but I said Patrick Mahomes should. Obviously, Jackson did. First year, I said Mahomes should win MVP. If this is a guy who's making the Super Bowl year in and year out, winning Super Bowl MVP, putting up these numbers, doing so well, playing kind of injured in the AFC Championship game and still looking just unbelievable. What we've seen out of this guy is something we've never seen before. I mean, this is by far, we are seeing something special out of this guy. And it's not only the numbers, it's the little things he does on the field. It's the reading of the defense. It's the simple, even just the motion of his throw. Even it's just the getting the ball to his target on time. Very rarely do you see a bad throw from Patrick Mahomes. I mean, his QBR is second in the NFL. Very rarely do you see a bad throw from Patrick Mahomes. He's got a 66.3 completion percentage this season. That is very good. You don't very rarely see a bad throw from Mahomes. You see a lot of accuracy and even just the little things. When he's running for a first down and he makes that little step back and runs for more. That stuff won't go into the stat sheet. That's the part of the eye test. And I really believe if it came down to Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes should win this award. Who's in the Super Bowl? Patrick Mahomes. Who's sitting at home right now, wherever he is, in Green Bay or somewhere on a beach in California? Who's sitting home right now? Aaron Rodgers. Who's preparing for a game this weekend? Patrick Mahomes. That, to me, is huge. Patrick Mahomes is preparing for a game this week. Aaron Rodgers is not preparing for a game. No, he's not. He's not preparing for a game this week. Patrick Mahomes is. And to do that at 25 years old, to prepare for your second Super Bowl at 25 years old, is just unbelievable. And what I think he will win his second Super Bowl at 25 years old, yes. This is a guy who should win the MVP. Now, here's why I think Aaron Rodgers will win the MVP. Because voter fatigue. People get tired of the same person winning it every year. Voter fatigue. If one guy has an amazing year, everyone's like, oh my gosh, vote for him. Patrick Mahomes, he's putting up the most consistent, great numbers in the NFL. And I'll tell you what, if he doesn't win MVP tomorrow night, and Aaron Rodgers does, and Sunday he goes out there and plays a good game, wins Super Bowl MVP like I think he will. I think Patrick Mahomes will win a Super Bowl MVP. And he goes out there and does that, okay, I think without a doubt, he should have won MVP. He should. Patrick Mahomes should win MVP. It's a guy who's going to his second Super Bowl in back-to-back years at the age of 25. And like I said, who's preparing for a game this weekend? Not Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. He should win the MVP. These are his 2020 season stats. Okay? He has 4,740 yards. That is second in the NFL. 38 touchdowns. That is fourth in the NFL. 6 interceptions, that's tied for 5th in the NFL, which is you want to be closer. Obviously, you want to have less interceptions, so he only has 6 this season. And a QBR of 82.9, that is 2nd in the NFL. He has top 5 stats for everything, and that is really good. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. Best quarterback in the NFL should win the MVP. Am I right? Best player in the league should win MVP. I thought that's how it works. This season he played 15 games played, 390 completions. Like I said, 66 completion percentage. He had 4. He's in his career. I mean, it's just unbelievable. 8.1 was his average per play. Obviously, his overall player rating this season was 108.2, which was the highest since his 50 touchdown season. He had, a lot of people always talk about that one year with that everyone always talks about that 2018 season where he threw 50 touchdowns. Yeah, that was great, but he also threw 12 interceptions. Since that year, he's thrown 5, and in this season, 6, which is just amazing. And he's 38 touchdowns is still a ton. Last season, he threw 26. This season, threw 38. And last season, he threw 26 in 14 games. That's one less game than this season. This season, threw 15, 38. That was what? 26, that's 12 more touchdowns. So he's throwing average touchdown per game is way higher than last season, which means he's still improving. Patrick Mahomes should win MVP. 108.2 overall player rating as well. So, yeah, that's why I think Patrick Mahomes should win MVP. So, who I think will probably win it? Probably Aaron Rodgers, because that's just how the voting works. Who I think should win it? Patrick Mahomes. Next award up here is the Offensive Player of the Year here. I personally think here this is pretty obvious. I think the rest of them is who I think will win it and who I think should. The first one, the MVP, was who I think is Aaron Rodgers, but who should win it is Patrick Mahomes. And I also think there's a good shot he wins that as well. But yeah. So Offensive Player of the Year here, I think it's Derrick Henry, running back, Tennessee Titans. I think this is obvious. I think this is so obvious. I mean, the guy is literally first in every running back category except average carry. I mean, the guy's first in attempts, he's first in yards, he's first in touchdowns. I mean, it's really just amazing. I mean, what this guy has done in this season. I mean, he's been a big part of this Titans team and the reason why they've made these playoff runs these past couple of years. And, I mean, this is a guy who has just been unbelievable. I mean, he's just been insane. I mean, the guy's averaging over 5 yards a carry. I mean, that's 6th in the NFL. I mean, what this guy does is just unbelievable. And another thing, this guy also does things that won't go into the stat sheet. Like a stiff arm. I'm sure many of you have seen the classic good old Derrick Henry stiff arm where he just shoves the player out of the way for 5 yards up the field. That stuff won't go into the stat sheet, but that's the stuff you see off of the eye test, and it just tells you. This is a guy who probably will finish third in the MVP voting. I mean, some people think he can win MVP. Which is very I don't think it will happen, but I wouldn't be angry if he wins MVP. But definitely Offensive Player of the Year. If this guy does not win Offensive Player of the Year, this is the biggest, just not okay. This guy better win Offensive Player of the Year. He's only 27 years old. He had a 2,000-yard season, had the most yards, obviously, out of all the running backs in the NFL. I mean, obviously, he had a 2,000-yard season. I mean, he's up there with guys like Emmitt Smith and guys like Walter Payton. I mean, just some of the all-time greats. I mean, he's already up there. I mean, not total, but just breaking records. You know, most yards by this player at this age. I mean, his name at only 27 years old and has only played 5 years in the league. His name's already up there with some of the guys like Emmitt Smith, Marshall Faulk, Walter Payton. I mean, you're not just talking about all-time great at running back. You're talking about all-time greats just overall. And this is another one that has a bright future ahead of him. And they have a very good offensive line there in Tennessee, but this is also a guy that sometimes just does it himself. I mean, he lowers his shoulder, uses that stiff arm. I mean, he's just one of the best. I mean, he's one of the best. And what makes it so good about him is he's not only a power back, but he's a big yards guy. He's going to be a power back too. He's going to lower his shoulder and run in there for 3-4 yards if you need him to, but he also can get out and get speed. I mean, this is a guy that has had ton of big yard touchdowns, and we've seen it here. And I mean, even last season, I know we don't judge off of last season, but last year he was a big part of that playoff run. This year he was a big part of making the playoffs. And I mean, he really is just something else. At only 27 years old, he just turned 27 too. January 4th he turned 27. So he's obviously just turned 27. So at only 27 years old to be putting up numbers like this and to be and to be considered, in the names of some of the all-time greats is just amazing. So he should definitely win Offensive Player of the Year. His 2020 stats: 378 attempts, 2,027 yards. 378 attempts is first in the NFL. 2,027 yards is first in the NFL. 17 touchdowns is first in the NFL. And 5.4 average yard per carry, that's sixth in the NFL. I mean, the three main stats, the big ones, it's touchdowns, the attempts, and the yards are all number one in the league, which is just unbelievable. It really is just insane. And that's obviously among running backs as well. Let's look at some of the stuff here. I mean, he's improved every year. 5 touchdowns in 12, 16, 17. So he's just shown improvements. This year was his highest average yards per carry. Obviously, he had the most carries this year in the league. That's the most of his career. Obviously, every year since he came into the league, he's had more yards each year, 490, 744, 1,059, 1,540, then 2,027. I mean, in 5 years in the league, he's got 5,860 yards. I mean, that's almost 1,000 a year, which is just unbelievable. Obviously, best average of his career, most touchdowns in a season in his career. His longest run this season was a 94-yard run. Obviously, his longest in his career came in 2018 when he had the 99-yard touchdown, I'm pretty sure, against the Jaguars. But obviously, this season he had a 94-yard touchdown, which was big. And he controls the ball too. He only had 3 fumbles this year, which is lower from last year. Last year he had 5. This season he only had 3. 9 fumbles in his career, which is perfectly good. I mean, he's not a guy that's going to lose the ball much either. So Derrick Henry, definitely Offensive Player of the Year. As for Defensive Player of the Year, I have Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's pretty obvious. You could probably make an argument for maybe a couple players, but I think this is pretty obvious. Defensive Player of the Year, I have Aaron Donald, defensive tackle, Los Angeles Rams. He, again, is only 29 years old. He's been in the league for a little bit now. Obviously, he's been in the league for 7 years now. This is his 8th coming up. So he's been in the league a little bit. He played 2 with St. Louis and then obviously 5 with the Rams, with 2 St. Louis Rams and then obviously 5 with Los Angeles. So he's been in the league for a total of 7 years. He's 29 years old, coming and going into his 8th year. I mean, this guy is just a freak of nature when you're talking about on the defense side of the ball. I mean, this is just the guy that is just... I mean, everything he does, he dominates every play. And when I was talking about Chris Jones a couple days ago on the podcast, yesterday actually, on the defensive players to look out for and all that stuff, I was talking about how Chris Jones is really good, but he's not Aaron Donald. He's not on that level. And I think Aaron Donald's one of the strongest players in the league, if not the strongest player in the league, which is he's just so much fun to watch. And I mean, this is a guy that, like Chris Jones, is every play making an impact. You're talking about impact players, one of the best in the league, up there with Chris Jones and other guys like that. I mean, it's a guy that gets sacks, he gets fumbles, he gets, things like that. Not an interception guy, he's a defense tackle. Now, I mean, he's second in the NFL, tied second in the NFL in sacks this season. Forced fumbles, he's got tied third in the NFL. I mean, those are big numbers right there. And can we talk about the run stuff? So let's talk about the tackles. Let's talk about all that stuff. I mean, the guy has just been such a dominant force. And obviously, he's had 85.5 sacks in his career, and that's only through 7 years. Some people get 80, some people get 60 sacks in 15 years. He's already got 85.5 in 7 years. That is insane. I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, that's almost like 10 sacks a year in a way. Just unbelievable what this guy is doing on every level of the game, on every aspect of the game. I mean, his lowest sack season was 8. That was his lowest sack season. That was 8. 8 sacks. I mean, how do you manage to do that? That's his lowest? That's unbelievable. 8 is a lot of players' highest. Another great year this year. And another thing, too, with him is there was a lot of outside noise with the Rams, with McVay and Goff, and he was still able to stay focused and get the win and go out there and win games. 2020 stats, 27 solo tackles. That's 150 plus in the league. He gets tackles, but a big sack guy. 13.5 sacks. That's tied second in the league. 4 forced fumbles, that's tied third in the league, and 0 interceptions, that's 150 plus. He's a defensive tackle. He's not going to get interceptions. He's never had an interception in his career. He's a defensive tackle. He's not a cornerback. He's not going to get interceptions. The real 2 main stats you got to look at is sacks and forced fumbles, and he was top 3 in both of those. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, he's every season he's played 16 games except 2017. He played 14. But, I mean, it's a guy who's been able to stay healthy, too, while getting double and triple teamed. And that's another thing, too, people don't realize. That's another thing that won't go into the stat book. He's getting double teamed and triple teamed at times in these games, and he's still finding a way to put up 13.5 sacks. Just amazing. So, Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year, Los Angeles Rams. Now I move on to the Offensive Players of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year, actually. So Rookie of the Year, I personally think for the offense side of the ball should be Justin Herbert, quarterback, Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, I mean, this is a guy, too. When he came into the league, I said it from the start, this guy was going to be special. Now, if Joe Burrow plays out the entire season, I don't know. I mean, you could obviously say maybe Justin Jefferson wins it, or, a guy, someone like that wins it, but I definitely think, without a doubt, Herbert's got to win it. I mean, this was a guy who was top 10 in almost every category, was a guy who would go out there, have a great game, left and right. This is a guy that just was so dominant almost every week, and to come into the league in a situation with the Chargers, and that's another thing too. They blew a lot of leads this season. For a player to still keep his head in the game at that young of an age and not get those losses get to him, to still go out there week in and week out and put a solid performance out there, to continue to do that week in and week out was really huge for me. And that's something, like I said, that won't go into the stat book. But that is big. That's big. For a guy to not lose confidence, even though you're blowing leads and you're losing games, to still go out there week in and week out and still put up a really, 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 really good performance was huge. And like I said, Justin Jefferson, guys like that, very good this season. But I don't think the most consistent performer almost in the NFL and for rookies, without a doubt, is Justin Herbert. And this was a guy that, even through all the losing and stuff with this team, was still able to rally his team back, finish the year at a 7-9 record, which after all isn't terrible. Still missed the playoffs, but he gets a new coach, he gets a new system. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got guys like that around him. This is a guy that is a very good player, and he is a very bright future in the NFL. And he can stay healthy. And that's another thing, too. This guy, I really believe his legs are really underrated. His rushing ability, he had 5 rushing touchdowns this season. That's actually pretty good. His rushing ability is very underrated. He can move big time. And for a guy that's only 22 years old, to come into a rookie with the Chargers, to originally start as a backup, to then come in and just dominate like that, was just unbelievable to watch. Justin Herbert should win Rookie of the Year. 2020 season stats, he had 4,336 yards. That's 6th in the NFL. 31 touchdowns. That's 10th in the NFL. 10 interceptions. That's tied 18th in the NFL. And QBR of 69.6. That's 13th in the NFL. And like I said, these aren't among rookies. These are among NFL. It's a guy who's 6th in the NFL in yards. That is huge as a rookie. So, it's pretty big. Obviously, 66.6 completion percentage. Obviously, 7.3 was his average. He took a lot of sacks. His overall player rating was 98.3, which is very, very, very good. And like I said, even though his interceptions were 10 and, a little higher, he was still able to keep the interceptions number down. That's one big thing with rookies. Rookies might put up 50 touchdowns and stuff like that, or 45 or 40 touchdowns. But the big times are the interceptions, because a lot of times the defenses you see are a whole lot different than what you saw in college. Or a whole lot different than what you saw in college. And I think we can all pretty much agree on that. It's a whole lot different than what you see in college. The defenses, the formations, even the NFL formations and stuff like that. Where you should throw it, when you should throw it. Big difference. So that's why sometimes you see the interception numbers high on players in the NFL first year. But he was able to keep those down as well. So, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert. Defensive Rookie of the Year. This is also pretty obvious, I think. Did not mean to do that. Gotta pull up this. Okay, so, yeah. So, Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think, is Chase Young, defensive end, Washington football team. Whatever you want to say, Washington football team, Washington Redskins, however you want to say it. I think Chase Young should win the Defensive Rookie of the Year. This is another guy, too, that came into a tough situation in Washington with all the stuff going on off the field with them, with their owner, with the situation, the name, and some of the just stuff that was going around the organization. For a rookie to come into that, to be honest, is a very tough situation, because rookies, when they come in, it's already hard for them. Adjusting from college to NFL is a very difficult process. It's a completely different game. The media is coming more around you. The media's around you. Being the second pick, the spotlight's going to be on you being the second pick. Obviously things like that, everyone's going to be talking about you. Like, especially when Burrow went down, he was kind of the next guy. Like, hey, everyone, second pick in the draft, let's see what Chase Young was doing, right? Everyone was kind of like that. Everyone was talking about it and stuff like that. And for him to go into that situation, already it's tough to move from college to NFL. in any certain situation, but especially in the Washington situation with everything going on off the field, for him to come into that situation and still put his best effort, his best play week in and week out was just amazing. And you look at the numbers, this was a guy who started off slightly slow, but that could have just been the adjustment. But he finished really strong. And he was a big part of why this team got to the playoffs and why this team, definitely competed in that wild card game. They kept it close against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was not a blowout by any means. It was not a blowout. I mean, that was not a blowout. It was a close game. And he was able to keep it close, Chase Young, and he was able to be a big part, got some fellow quarterbacks, was able to really hit them. And you talk about not even just the sacks, but even just the pressures, just getting to the quarterback. Like I talked about with the Chiefs trying to get to Brady. Even if it's just getting to quarterback and rushing his motion a little bit. That stuff won't go into that stuff, even if it's just the simple raising of your hands. That stuff's not going to go into the stat book, but that is big for Chase Young. And I think he should win Defensive Rookie of the Year. There's a lot to like what he saw. There's a lot to like from what we saw this season. There is some still growing, but there was a lot to like from this guy. And this guy was, again, just insane. I mean, this was a guy who was dominating at almost every aspect of the game in the rookie year. 2020 stats. 32 solo tackles, it's 150. It's pretty deep. 7.5 sacks, that's tied 26th in the NFL. 4 forced fumbles, that's tied third, and interceptions, none, 150 plus. But interceptions, he's a defensive end. Don't gotta worry. Interceptions isn't a problem there. Four forced fumbles. That's big. He was tied with Aaron Donald. To just put you in perspective of where this guy is headed. Tell you what, the future's bright. I mean, obviously, both these players still got to develop and grow even more, into even just better players. But the future's bright for the offense and defense side of the ball with the young players, and things like that. So the future's bright for Washington as well. And Chase Young had a big season, and it was really fun to watch him. So Chase Young, I think, will win and should win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now I move to Comeback Player of the Year. I have Alex Smith. Winning the Comeback Player of the Year. To be honest, I just think it's amazing everything that he did. Alex Smith, quarterback, Washington football team, Washington Redskins, whatever you want to say. I mean, he just had an excellent year for the guy who's 36 years old to get injured like that, to be able to crawl your way back, get back. He had one of the worst injuries in sports history. To get back on the field and just to play again. Now, the stats aren't amazing. 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 1,582 yards. The stats aren't amazing. But it's not even so much the stats. It's the fact. It's not even so much the stats. It's just the. It's not even the stats. It's just the fact of how good he was. How good his return was. It was great. It was great. It was really good to see him come back. To see him return was one of the greatest things in sports. To watch the guy, everything he went through from we saw in the documentary, everything he went through and stuff, his leg injury and stuff, to come back out and on the field, and he helped this team. He did. I understand, he wasn't the best, but he was a pretty big part of getting this team to the playoffs. And this is another guy, too, to come back and not even be the start of the first game of the season, to come back and play at that level is just amazing. To have him come back and play in the NFL when people didn't even know if he was going to be able to walk again is just amazing. And that to me right there should win MVP, or not MVP, Comeback Player of the Year, just because of the comeback. And I know a lot of people might say Ben Roethlisberger should win it and stuff like that just because of the numbers. No, Alex Smith should win it. The numbers aren't completely there, but if you look at the big picture, what went on with his leg and that injury is just insane. He should win a Comeback Player of the Year, Alex Smith. 1,582 yards is 34th in the NFL. 6 touchdowns, 34th in the NFL. 8 interceptions, tied 10th in the NFL. And a QBR of 34.8. Overall player rating 78.5. So stats aren't great, but still. Had a excellent season. So that's obviously what I got there. Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, head coach Cleveland Browns. I think he should win Coach of the Year. Obviously, he did a lot with the Browns to get them back to, their winning ways. And Walter Payton, the Man of the Year, I think will be Travis Kelce will win Walter Payton Man of the Year. He did a lot off the field, just did great work there. So that's what I got that for the NFL awards predictions. Now I move on to the other stuff here. College basketball. Oh, that's not like that. So yesterday, Gonzaga won, Ohio State won. Today there's no AP top 25 games on. I'm sure there's some other games though as well on though. NBA yesterday, the Rockets won, Trailblazers won, Warriors won, Jazz won, and Lakers won. Today we got a ton of games. Today we got the Bulls Magic give Bulls the win. Pacers Pelicans give Pacers the win. Bucks Cavaliers give Bucks the win. Jazz Hornets give Jazz the win. Timberwolves Thunder give Timberwolves the win. Heat Wizards give Heat the win. Suns Pistons give Suns the win. Clippers Celtics give Clippers the win. And as for the Nets Raptors game, Nets come in this game 14-9. Raptors come in this game 9-12. The Nets are 5.5 point favorites. The over/under is 239.5 for this game. This game comes on at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. I give the Nets the win here. I really like the way we've played the past couple of games. Other than that, Wizards games, and we are a turnover. If we don't turn that ball over, we're on a big winning streak. But we've looked really good, and it's going to be close. I think close game, but I do think the Nets will win. And as for the NHL here, yesterday Rangers won, Blackhawks won, Coyotes won, Jets won, Senators won, Maple Leafs won, Blue Jackets won, and Predators won. Today we got Flyers, Bruins give Bruins the win. Predators, Panthers give Panthers the win. Lightning, Red Wings give Lightning the win. Kings, Golden Knights give Golden Knights the win. And Ducks, Sharks give Ducks the win. So that's that. And as for the fantasy stuff here, as for fantasy basketball, I've got I'm winning 836 to 722, so still going good there. Today I've got Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, Jeremy Grant, Miles Turner, Pascal Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, and Kemba Walker. And the injury report here, Trae Young is day-to-day. Young calf is out for Thursday's game against the Jazz. Mike Conti of the Atlanta Hawks Radio Network reports that happened obviously yesterday there. Valanciunas COVID-19 protocols is out Thursday against the Rockets. That also happened yesterday as well. So that's the injury report there. That's kind of it here for fantasy hockey. I am winning 85 to 35, so winning by 50 there, big lead there. Today I've got Steven Stamkos, Braden Point, Ansys Kopitar, Ryan Ellis, Shea Theodore, and I've got John Gibson going at goaltender, and that's it. That's all there. So, So with all that being said, that will do it for the podcast here today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Very, very, very good podcast. Very long podcast there. Very good podcast. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. It was a very good podcast. Very long podcast. And like I said, very good podcast. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Super Bowl weekend this weekend. Everyone enjoy it. Obviously Super Bowl on Sunday. CBS Sports should be really, really, really good. I'm excited to watch it. Hopefully you are as well. As you all know, I take breaks on the weekend, so I'll see you all back here on Monday. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy the weekend. It should be great. Enjoy the big game. Super Bowl 55. Enjoy it. Should be a very, 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 very good game. And, that's all I got for the podcast here today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.